Hello everyone and welcome to Battle of the Beasts All Generation episode number 128. I'm Adam and today we got two more beasts fighting out for our spots in round 4. And this is quite an interesting matchup. While it seems obvious, the beast which seems to be an obvious disadvantage has shown that he can handle his own, and honestly that you maybe shouldn't judge who's gonna win just by looking at the outside designs of these beasts, because the abilities can turn the tables a lot. But with that being said, let's introduce these beasts. And with that, we're going to start with the first one, obviously, representing Series 15, Velmal's Revenge, and the last beast standing of this series. We have Plexor, the Raging Reptile, versus the representative of Series 27, the kind of last beast standing, book number 1, Gorog, the Fiery Fiend. And I say kind of the last beast standing because we all know where Gargantua is. Gargantua is on Ospira's finger. I don't really know what I'm going to do with that, but the overarchingness confused me here. I don't know whether to count Gorog as the last beast standing or not, so I'm going to hold fire on it. So technically Series 27 still has one beast left, just not fighting. what a cheater Gargantua is. But with that, let's get to the stats. Starts off with Plexor, the only one of these two with a bio, so can't really say much about Gorog here. Fishing communities in the Kingdom of Tangala tell scary stories about the legendary cursed fish, whose capture brought rains to help farmers. But no one actually believes the story, even though they hold an annual festival in which they capture a model version of the creature. They should not be so careless, for beneath the water lurks Plexor, a monstrous reptile whose gaping mouth can swallow whole boats and unlucky fisherfolk. Age 253, power 195, magic level 201, fright factor 85, size 291. Powers and abilities are enhanced strength, enhanced reactions, natural weaponry, scales, underwater breathing, and speed swimming. Weaknesses are land travel incapability and gill blockage. Insert a bio for Gorog that doesn't exist yet. And then we got the powers and abilities of Burning Vision. Gorog can burn anything he sets his eyes on, being able to set things on fire if heated enough. Hypnotism. Gorog can hypnotize those who make eye contact with him, locking them in place until something snaps them out. Enhanced strength and natural weaponry. Weaknesses, acid. Yeah, acid. Gorog can be melted by acid if held in for long enough. So with that, that is that battle. And for the match, for where the fight's going to take place, I have no idea. I'm leaning towards... Well, it needs to be an ocean of sorts for you. So, hold on. Where is Plexor for? It's obviously in Tangala. That does not help. Okay, hold on. So, I'm just going through the map of Tangala here for Series 15. Okay, Auton was Wardock. Paddyfields was Xeric. Pania was Quagos because of that. Actually, quite good finale. Just throwing that out there. So Aran, yeah, the fishing village of Aran. Sorry, that was a cough, but it just started to be laughing. Okay, the fishing village of Aran is where the fight's going to take place, and in the, well, I would say lake, but I'm going to say the loch. So yeah, the running joke from the New Generation tournament, I'm not going to go back to it for Plexor. It's tempting, so I'm just going to say the Loch of Aran. Oh, sorry, Loch Aran is where the battle is going to take place. I've waited so long to say that, and I never knew I wanted to say it before. I need a life. This is so sad. Right, so with that, let's get into the battle. As Plexor just rests in Loch Aran, waiting for his next battle, knowing who his opponent is, he decides that he can't get to him, so he will need to come to him, if that made sense. So Gorog is on his way to Plexor. That's what I'm trying to say, but I can't say it because I'm having such a hard time trying to talk. Gorog, obviously, is on his way, just ploughing through Tangala, leaving fiery footsteps everywhere he goes. Any spectator who sees Gorog just running through Tangala just sees what looks like an orange flame just run by the speed of light. Kind of admirable to see, honestly. Not a bad sight. When Gorog finally arrives at the fishing village of Aran, he sets his eyes on Loch Aran, where he's exactly looking starts to bubble up, quite violently, might I add, almost like he's boiling the loch. Plexor not really feeling much of it because it's a big loch. You need to stare at it for a long time if you want to boil it. He does notice that part of the loch is being boiled up, so he takes that to mean that Gorog is here. Gorog comes up to the docks, about the edge of the loch, not on the dock, and just roars into the loch, trying to call Plexor out. And what Plexor does, he does come out, emerges from the depths of the loch, and stares Gorog down. Gorog stares back at Plexor, and before Plexor knew it, he can't seem to move, almost like that he's been hypnotized in place. Gorog charges up towards Plexor by doing a runner up to the side of the loch and jumps. He lands on Plexor's neck and bites and scratches at it. At that point, Plexor gets snapped out of his hypnosis, bites down onto Gorog's body, ignoring the fiery pain that's going around his mouth. He chucks Gorog from one side of the loch to the other, landing just barely on the bay of the loch. Plexor dives underwater and makes his way up to Gorog. As Gorog regains himself, he's greeted by Plexor emerging from the depths again. This time, with his tail, Plexor lifts up as well and splashes it into the water, splashing a bunch of water over Gorog. Gorog ducks behind a rock to protect as much of himself from the water as he can, but some steam erupts from where the water landed on him. He then jumps up on top of the rock and stares directly at Plexor's wounds in his neck. And Plexor can feel his blood starting to boil. Plexor, roaring in this pain, jumps out of the loch and splashes back down into the water, creating a tidal wave of water to erupt. That Gorog ducks behind a rock again. Plexor immediately comes back out of the water and lifts his tail and reaches for the rock, which he smashes, and knocking Gorog back further away from this loch. Rock, this is going to be confusing. Gorog regains himself and tries to lock eyes with Plexor again, but Plexor's already made that mistake. Plexor splashes towards Gorog again. This time with no cover, Gorog just sits there and takes it as steam erupts from around him. Gorog stays still to try and heat up what he's staring at. Unbeknownst to him, he's staring at the loch, just boiling away the loch, but not Plexor. Plexor despite the land incapability that he has, he goes onto the bay, still shrouded by steam, reaches into it with his mouth, bites down on Gorog, and forces himself to fall backwards back into the lock with Gorog still in his mouth. They both get submerged. Gorog's fire is reacting violently to the water, where bubbles and steam is emerging from under the water. And Plexor just continues to not let go of his prey and drags Gorog down to the bottom of the lock, where he finally lets go of Gorog. Gorog tries to get away with what strength he has left with his fire extinguished. Plexor wraps his tail around Gorog's ankle, pulls him down to his level, roars in his face, and speaks in his mind, saying, "How dare you disturb my slumber? How dare you try to burn my lock away? You're going to need to have more firepower than that, and I've beaten Skra before. You were just child's play compared to him." He opens his mouth and bites down onto Gorog's head, snapping it clean off as Gorog's lifeless body with no head floats up to the top as Plexor releases his grip. Plexor has won and Gorog has lost. If you think Gorog should have won, please don't go to the way. Think that how my word's final and Plexor's moving on to the next round. Now, whilst I did say don't judge who's going to win simply by the design of the books, because it's water versus fire. But come on, it's the Loch Ness Monster versus a Varkule. And I'm not saying Varkules are weak, but I'm just saying, like, fire. Like, the weakness is acid for Gorog, but if he's made of fire, obviously water's a weakness as well. And technically, I kind of like the idea of Plexor doing a Jaws-esque attack on him. You know, Shroud making his way through the water, making his way up to Gorog, creating a steam cloud, and then going from Jaws to the mist, where Plexor goes into the steam and catches Gorog by surprise and drags him away into the watery grave that he now lies in. Plexor's violent, but I'm also going to say Series 15 is still alive, and Series 27 is technically out, but also not out. Still don't know where I'm going with this. But with that, that's all for this time. If you like what you saw, leave a like, leave a comment, don't forget to subscribe, press the notification bell down the corner below, and I'll see you next time.